7 Days of Wisdom, episode 25. 25 weeks in. Wow. One day, I will be looking back at these videos, telling myself, wow, I remember when you used to live in New Brunswick, in this apartment building, and look at how far you've come. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy documenting, I enjoy this process, knowing that one day this will serve as a memory of growth, a memory showcasing the journey, the experience, and I feel as if we should all have these memories. So if you're out there doing something, building something, working and moving towards something, I challenge you, I advise you, I recommend that you find some time and find some way to document the journey, because you will appreciate it when it comes time to look back on it. So, 7 Days of Wisdom, episode 25, April 24th, Sunday, 5:27 p.m. The sun is still out. Usually we're doing this at a much later time, and I actually enjoy doing it much earlier. It's just so much more productive for me. It enables me to put this out there and then continue on with my day to do what it is I have to do, and then be able to get enough sleep and be effective the next day. Because the last few weeks, Sunday nights have been long. I really haven't been able to get enough sleep and be prepared effectively and efficiently for the week, especially starting off on Monday. So I want to make sure that I change that habit, which is one of the things that we speak about and we spoke about in the past. So I just want to take action and do what's within my power to alleviate bad habits and make room for good habits. So that's what I'm working on. What will we be discussing this week? So this week we will hop into systems, discussing systems, the importance of paying attention, following the leader, and then lastly, just a brief discussion on indifference, and then hop into a few, I don't want to say incidents, but a few things that happened this week. So let's hop into it. Systems, political systems, educational systems, business systems. The world is changing. I watched the Marie Forleo video earlier this week, and she mentioned that the future of business belongs to those who are positive, those who are looking to change the world for the better. And I absolutely agree with that sentiment. So, systems are changing. When we look at the political system, the reason why I chose to even want to discuss systems is because on Tuesday I was listening to WBAI, Progressive Radio, here on the East Coast. Stations based out of New York. I think they're in Brooklyn now. They used to be uptown in Harlem. And I think they used to be in Lower Manhattan on the east side. But after Hurricane Sandy, they moved their station. So they bounced around a few times. But WBAI, the infamous talk radio, progressive radio, I remember my father used to always listen to that when I was younger. He used to prepare us lunch and prepare us breakfast before we went to school, and he would always have on WBAI. And being a young child, it's like I wasn't really into it at the time, but I had a sense to begin to understand the issues that were being discussed on WBAI, and pretty much how WBAI has always moved against the grain for the betterment of society. WBAI was the only radio that would challenge the status quo and stand up for the rights of the community. So that's what really introduced me to the things that I'm in to now. And that's just pretty much for standing what's right. Social movements. I'm not too much into politics, but just whatever's right. And this past Tuesday were primaries in New York, and Dr. Jill Stein was a guest on WBAI. And one of the things that she said that stood out to me is that she mentioned we can't have a revolutionary campaign in an unrevolutionary party. And when she said that, I thought of the structures in this world, systems that we have set up. And a lot of the systems we have set up are unrevolutionary. You know, we are entering a point in time where things are changing drastically in this world that we live in, globally, across the world. And there will be a lot of challenges, a lot of things will be changing. The status quo is really being challenged to a point that the paradigm is beginning to shift. So without me going too deep into that, because we know where that can lead us, I just want to say systems are changing, and it's important that we understand what we stand for and what we're involved in, the systems we're involved in, and how the systems got to where they are, and our role within how they may change in the future. So what is our role in regards to the position we play in the systems that currently exist? I'm going to just leave it at that. Think about it. Systems, structures, status quo, unrevolutionary, revolutionary, the need for change. Let's leave it at that. Number 2, paying attention. Tuesday, and this was the exact same day. Tuesday morning, I was driving and listening to the radio, WBAI. All of a sudden, I see a red light. So I'm driving, I slow down, and as I'm slowing down, I, of course, notice people crossing the street, really students. There was a young girl and maybe a young boy. And at that particular moment, the light was red, so I knew to slow down. But as I was slowing down, I noticed that the student crossing the street did not even look up. It was a young girl, probably elementary school. She had headphones on. She was just, her head was down, crossing the street. She didn't even look to the side to look to see if there were any cars coming. And I thought in that moment, if for some reason I was on my phone or looking in my back seat or distracted, all it would have taken is a few more feet of my car moving forward. I didn't even have to skip the red light, but if my car would have continued to roll forward, that could have been a tragic accident, an incident. And right there I thought, all an accident takes is one mistake. You know, it can be whoever's end the mistake comes from. Once the accident happens, it doesn't really matter because the results from that accident cannot be taken away. So once that happens, it really doesn't matter who did it. All that matters is that it was done. So this made me think, all an accident takes is one mistake, one little mistake. So paying attention decreases the odds tremendously. You know, paying attention is super important. When we pay attention, we are able to avoid mistakes and accidents. And just by paying attention, this saves lives. So, from that one experience, one real life experience, I learned how important it is to pay attention. If I wasn't paying attention, I may not be here in this seat right now. You know? Because I may have hit a young person, and for whatever reason, who knows, how the system may have worked out for me. I could have been charged with manslaughter. Who knows what the charge may have been. Fortunately, it didn't happen. Fortunately, I paid attention. And fortunately, I was able to learn from not the mistake, but learn from the thought of the possibility of the mistake. So we don't always have to experience a mistake to learn. It's just being conscious about the possibility of the mistake that we could have made and learning from that. I feel that's one of the best ways to learn. It's just through mindfulness. So we can learn through mindfulness. Paying attention is super important. Number 3, follow the leader. This morning, maybe last night, I thought about, because I've been doing a lot of brand strategy stuff. Shout out to Thomas Johnson, who I was with last week. We were going over a lot of brand strategy and development for his company, Get Up and Get Fit. A few other clients and people I'm working with. Pantheon Music Publishing on the music side. I've been working a lot with Behind the Hustle, developing content, writing for them. So I've been working a lot in the realm of brand development, strategy, developing narratives, writing, conversion, content development, and just working with emerging brands and movements. So I'm covering everything from working with leaders, the topic of leadership, innovation, technology, anything dealing with business, cutting edge, education. That's what I'm involved in right now. So these are the conversations that I'm currently having. And when we talk about leadership and models of success and blueprints and mentorship, I thought, man, follow the leader. The steps are already out there. The road is paved. So it's simple. Follow the leader. Learn from the leader. And become the leader. That 3-step process. So to break it down a little bit more. When we follow the leader, we identify who the leader is. We follow the leader. We ask ourselves, who are the leaders in our industry? Who are the thought leaders in our industry? Once we're able to identify these people, and they're not hard to identify because they're at the top of the totem pole. You're talking basketball. Who are the leaders in basketball, man? Steph Curry, LeBron James. Who are the stars? Who's out there making it happen? Who are the leaders in business, startups, Uber, Travis, Pinterest, Snapchat, Evan. Know who they are. These people have names. Study, research, follow the leaders. If you're in an industry and you're passionate about what you're doing, know the game changers. Right now I'm in agency mode, starting a brand development agency. So I'm looking at all the top agencies, Whiten and Kennedy. I'm big on Epiphany and what Coltrane Curtis is doing. Kenny Mack runs Creative Contraband, and he's the leader, the boss over at Behind the Hustle. So I'm learning a lot just being a part of that movement and the access that I have. So I'm studying and learning from the leaders and the people who are doing what I want to do. And I am thankful and glad that I do have access to the resources that I need to tap into when necessary. But I'm still not even going all out yet, because the thing with me is I want to add as much value as possible first. Therefore, when it's time to sit down at the table, leverage is there, the relationship is there, and the conversation is easy. So, follow the leader. Who are the leaders in your industry? Learn from the leader. What are they teaching? The people in your industries, they're doing podcasts, interviews, seminars, conferences. Once you know who they are, find out where they are, find out what they're doing, find out what they're teaching. Learn from them. Learn from them. That's the second step. Lastly, become the leader. What have you learned? How can you leverage the material and the information you've learned to become a leader yourself and pave your own path? And once you do that, that's when you will generate a following of the next people who follow you and eventually want to step into leadership also. You know, you start to build your audience. You start to build your credibility, your reputation, all based on what you have built for yourself and what you have learned from the leaders who have come before you. So, very simple. Follow the leader, learn from the leader, become the leader. Lastly, number 4, indifference. I was listening to Evan Carmichael, who has his YouTube channel, very inspirational, and they were speaking about job interviews, how important job interviews are, tips and techniques, what you should do in a job interview. Make sure you shake people's hands firmly, look them in the eye, be confident. Not only when you go to an interview, not only are you being interviewed, you want to make sure that you're interviewing the person you're sitting with. Express interest, be enthusiastic, add value, show what you can bring to the table. Be very confident. After the interview, I've been reading a lot about this, following up. Send a follow-up letter, not an email, a letter in the mail, postcard. That says a lot about candidates. There's some companies, and this comes from the video, who might just hire the first person to send that follow-up letter. Like, yeah, let's see who the first person will be to send us a letter in the mail thanking us. And that person is hired. Why? Because it says a lot about their character. So, when we're going into a situation, a meeting, an interview, where we feel the need to prove ourselves, it's important to showcase the value that we have to offer, but also understand the other side of the table. What are they looking for in a candidate? I may not be the ideal candidate for this situation. You know, express a level of understanding for the other side. I believe that always helps. And how that ties to indifference is, Evan said that he would rather have someone hate him than feel so-so, indifferent. And I thought about it. Would I rather have people hate me? Would I rather have somebody hate me than just feel indifferent about me? And I'm like, it makes sense. Why? Because if somebody loves you or hates you, it's because you made an impact on their life a certain way. If someone loves you, you obviously made a positive impact. If someone hates you, you may have made a negative impact or impact that just wasn't suitable for them. But either way, you made an impact. That's what I feel I live for, to make an impact. So if somebody disagrees with me, that's good. I made an impact for them to disagree. But if somebody is indifferent, that means they could care less about anything I said. It means there was no impact made whatsoever, which essentially means it was a waste of not only my time, but also the person's time. So the feeling of indifference is almost similar to the feeling of mediocrity, being average. If you want to stand for something, stand for it. How other people relate to it or how other people receive it is entirely up to them. But you want to make sure you leave a lasting impact. And there are times where the impact may be negative, and then down the line it gets turned around to be positive. Like, hey, I was wrong. What you said was absolutely right. It made a huge impact on my life and my outlook, and I really learned a lot from that. So don't be afraid to stand for something and make an impact. Although it may be received not so well at first, the impact being made is important. We want to make an impact. We don't want to come off as indifferent. We want people to care. We want to care. Indifferent is a waste of time, and time is precious and valuable. So that's the last thing. Before we hop into quotes of the week, I just want to share a quick story. So I was in school this past week in a 7th grade class, and one of the students told me, "Hey, mister, you know who you remind me of?" And I'm like, "Who?" And the student said Malcolm X. So I'm thinking in my head, man, I've heard that a lot of times. Like, man, you remind me of Malcolm X. And I'm like, you know what? I've heard that before, but what really piqued my interest is 7th grade. I mean, you're talking about students who were born in like 2004, pretty much. Yeah, like 2004. And to think, man, this student was born in 2004, and they're familiar with Malcolm X. Now that is a lasting impact. And I'm like, how you know about Malcolm X, man? He's like, I'm a history buff, mister. I'm like, that means a lot. That says a lot. So for a 12-year-old student to tell me that I look like Malcolm X meant a lot for me, because it says not only did Malcolm X leave an impact, but it also says that I'm, in a way, leaving a subtle impact for me to be compared to a figure at that level, you know, a monumental, worldwide, globally known figure. And what blew me away even more is later in that same exact class, we were reading through Scholastic magazine, and one of the students was very shy, and she didn't want to read. And I had an idea why she may not have wanted to read, but I wanted to push her to get outside of her comfort zone and at least try at reading as best as she can read. So I was finally able to persuade and convince her to read with the support of her classmates. So I expressed her like, hey, we're here to support you. We're all on the same team. You know, we're going to help you get through this passage. Just read a paragraph. Just read a few sentences. And then she was like, she finally started reading. And, you know, as she was reading, obviously her reading level wasn't up to par. But the fact that she was doing it, the fact that we were reading together as a class, the fact that her classmates were cheering her on, the fact that the student sitting right next to her was helping her get through the words, that's what meant the most, the effort. So when she finished, I told her how great of a job she did, and we all started giving her a round of applause as a class. And what really made my day is after that, another student said, man, you're like the next Martin Luther King Jr., you know, because I really helped to inspire those students at that particular moment in that class to come together and support one another and not be afraid of stepping out and moving towards becoming a stronger version of themselves. So that was just a quick little story I wanted to share that stood out to me this past week. You know, it means a lot for me when people come together and champion even the smallest moments like that, to get students who aren't comfortable with reading to read a paragraph. That's where it starts. From there, who knows? She may be the next Nobel laureate, you know, reading, writing, being an author. doing speeches across the country, and she may go on to share that story herself. Who knows? The main point is there was an exchange, you know. There was a bigger purpose and message behind that I felt all the students were able to pick up on and learn from. So, quotes of the week. First one. This deals with business. Harvard Business Review. For companies looking to create revolutionary products, identifying and accessing cutting-edge exploratory research is a key competitive advantage. I was reading an article on the importance of academic research and innovation, and how a lot of cutting edge companies and a lot of innovation comes from exploratory research and academic research, because when we look at journal articles, they're literally going through research of what's needed in a particular marketplace. What's going on? What are the trends? What's needed? And as a company, if we're able to identify what we can do to add value to a particular marketplace from research, whether it's academic or just, generic research, connecting dots, seeing where the voids are in the marketplace, these are huge opportunities. So academic research provides huge opportunities for companies coming up now. So if you're a startup, whatever you do the research. Do the research. Get familiar with your market. Don't be afraid to dig deep. So that's right out of Harvard Business Review. For companies looking to create revolutionary products, identifying and accessing cutting-edge exploratory research is a key competitive advantage. 2, if we want to compete at the highest level, we have to treat collaboration as a competitive advantage. So this is coming from the same article. When we collaborate across industries and learn about different insights that are going on, it's only a matter of time before we're able to interconnect everything and really begin to holistically make sense out of the things that we're doing. In my research alone, from reading books, reading Inc. magazine, Harvard Business Review, Fast Company, I'm starting to realize that a lot of the stuff starts to become repetitive in regards to the discussions and topics being spoken about. I mean, leadership, innovation, creativity, productivity, sleep, the importance of this, the importance of that, health. After a while, it gets to a point where, all right, I got it. I understand. Because you're taking different bits and sources of information and weaving it together. It enables you to see things from multiple perspectives and attack problems and issues from a more holistic and mindful manner. And therefore we're able to provide solutions to problems we may not have been able to provide solutions to if we were just stuck in our own element, stuck in our own industry. And this is one of the reasons why diversity is a huge issue, and diversity is a big topic now, especially when it comes to Silicon Valley. Diversity helps to address issues and find solutions in ways that have a limited view and a limited perspective on particular issues would. If I have a company of all black people, a company of all white people, of all Asians, or all Indians, most likely we're lacking perspective. So we want to position companies and businesses to have as many viewpoints and perspectives as possible for us to succeed. That's why collaboration is important. That's why diversity is important. So let's think about that. Next quote. When we walk along our own path, great things happen. When we work in accordance with the universe, greater things happen. I feel this could relate to a lot of people, considering that a lot of times we're in a search for what we can do. Us. What is our purpose? As opposed to what the universe, what God, what the world has in store for us. So yes, we must take action and do what we can do within our power, but we also have to be aware that there are greater forces behind us, determining how things align and helping to determine our ultimate destiny and our position within the cosmos, as Pharrell was saying, within this planet, within the universe, and where we belong. So it's a constant. Ariana Huffington said this in an interview with Lewis Howes this past week too. Life is more of a dance between making it happen and letting it happen. So that aligns directly with the previous quote. It's a dance. We're going back and forth, all right? Some things we have to make happen. Some things we have to let happen. Letting things happen requires a lot of confidence. It requires patience. It requires a lot of patience. So let's view things from that perspective. Let's make things happen. It's super important to take action, yes, but let's allow room for things to happen organically as well. So life is a dance between making it happen and letting it happen. Ariana Huffington, and that relates directly to the previous quote. When we walk along our own path, great things happen. When we work in accordance with the universe, greater things happen. So let's keep walking towards greatness. Next, the small accomplishments eventually add up to big opportunities. So this is really about just championing our accomplishments, the small wins, small gains on a daily basis, hourly, minute. Just really appreciating those small accomplishments and using those to create the momentum to capitalize on big opportunities. So small accomplishments eventually add up to big opportunities. Next one, Jane Houston, spiritual leader. I was checking out evolvingwisdom.com. A good friend of mine introduced me to a workshop that she had this past week, and I really looked into the entire movement. And one of the quotes that she said that stuck out to me was, no matter what challenging situations we may face, we always have the option to choose a perspective that fills us with empathy, patience, and wisdom. So she didn't say that exact quote. I kind of restructured it, but she said something along those lines. And I thought, we do have the option, we have the choice, we make the decision that regardless of what we face, we choose our perspective in regards to how we see things. So we choose empathy, patience, wisdom. We choose hate. We choose resentment. We choose envy. We choose jealousy. That choice is ours. The choice is ours. As the principal at New Brunswick Middle School would say, the choice is yours. Next. Life in all its moments is so full of glory. This is from Helen Keller. I heard this on Thursday night, and I thought, man, life in all its moments is so full of glory. That relates back to the previous quote. We choose, we make the decision on how we view our life, how we view the world. We make the choice. The decision is ours. We decide to be upset or angry. at ourselves or the world around us. We choose to smile. We choose to be happy. We choose to not be happy. We choose to be depressed. It's our choice. As hard as it may sound, it is our choice. Next up, if your presence does not add value, your absence won't make a difference. Add value. When you're around, add value to the point where when you're gone, people miss you. It's like, man, he made life so easy for me. I said this before, when I'm around, I feel as though it's my job to make other people's jobs easier. I don't mind doing the hard work. I don't mind doing what other people don't want to do. That's what I feel I'm here for, to add value, be of service to others. And that is what makes you indispensable. So when it comes to job interviews, pretty much that's one way to nail the interview. Let them know, hey, I'm not afraid to do everything or anything in regards to adding value. I'm not afraid to do what everyone else is afraid to do. I'm not afraid to be of service to the company. I want to make sure we succeed as a unit, as a team, as a division, as a whole. That's why you need to bring me on board. That was a little joke, but some of it wasn't. So yeah, be valuable. Be a valuable player. Be an asset. Don't be a liability. Come on, add value. That comes from Brandon Maurice, who's actually a content style contributor. He did some work with Greats and some other lifestyle cool companies. So I came across him when I was revisiting some things I did with Ryan Babazine, who's the founder and CEO at Greats, which is a sneaker company. So check them out. Greats Footwear. Greats. Lastly, which isn't really lastly because we went over it, but early today, again, follow the leader, learn from the leader, become the leader. Leadership. Super important. Everything is laid out for us. The models are in front of us. All we have to do is pay attention. You know, we don't want to run people over in the street. Alright? Lastly, shout out to my boy Israel Wilson, man. Israel Deep, a real deep perspective. I see you out here. I just checked out your video a few hours ago, dropping knowledge. What is your purpose? So my boy Israel was addressing the question of what is your purpose, and one of the things he said that stuck out was our confusion is a result of us not having a purpose. So when we're confused, we have to revisit things. We have to get back in touch with what it is, what drives us to do what we do. What is our purpose? What are we passionate about? What are we here to make? How are we here to make an impact? So if you're at a point in life now where you're confused, you're not sure what to do, you have to get clear about your intentions. You have to get rid of the distractions. And you have to be at one with yourself. Sometimes it's just a matter of being at one with ourselves, and that allows us to really see and revisit what it is we feel we're here for. What are we here for? What are we here to do? It's easy to get distracted and caught up in the 9 to 5, the hustle. We have to revisit what makes our heart sing, as Steve Jobs would say. What makes your heart sing? What is it you did as a child that you enjoyed so much? How can you turn those hobbies, your hobby, the hobby that you love, into a living? Don't be afraid to revisit childhood. What did you love doing when you were 16? What did you love doing when you were in elementary school, dancing, playing sports. Yeah, you may not make it to the NFL or NBA, but you could be a coach, you could be an assistant, you could be an agent. You can still play a supporting role to those people you admire. I'm not a musician. I'm not a Pharrell Williams. But I can be a Troy Carter. I can be a Coltrane Curtis. I can be a Steve Stout. I could list a whole bunch of names. But I am Aquaus. I am Aquaus Kelley. So that's my purpose. Creating my own lane, paying homage to those who have come before me, learning from those who have come before me, paying respect, and then creating my own lane. And that's a lover's ambition. That's creating opportunities for other people. It's my journey towards my social mission of investing in the collective future of society through the arts, through education, through entertainment, through leadership. That's why I have 7 days of wisdom. That's why I choose to do this and interact with an audience and build a future audience, build a future community, build a future movement based on helping to advance others on their pursuits and their aspirations. So through supporting others, I'm also supporting myself. And one more thing my homie Israel always said to me is, it's important to invest in the success of others. It's all about investing in the success of others. So I'm going to leave it on that note. Salute, Israel. We are on our way. And we definitely need to reconnect, man. I see you out here making a lot of moves. And I'm just glad to see that people within my circle are still on that path of a positive movement. And just to see that I help to play a role in that, help to inspire people, help to motivate people to share their message with the world means a lot. So this is the longest episode I've had in a while, but it is needed, and we are making an impact, slowly but surely. So connect with me, send me a message, shoot me an email, get in touch. Let's continue to build upon this movement. 7 Days of Wisdom, episode 25, episode 26 next week. A Lover's Ambition Lifestyle Group. Check us out at aloversambition.com. Let's continue to inspire. Let's continue to move culture forward. Let's continue to have fun. Let's continue to educate. Let's continue to be cool. And let's just crush it, man. Ladies and gentlemen. So, until next week, much love, peace, and harmony. Aquaus Kelley signing off. Peace.